Matthew 13:36-43. The parable of the wheat and the tares explained. After speaking to the crowds in parables, Jesus withdrew into the house. The disciples came to him privately and asked for an explanation of the parable of the wheat and the tares. What had been spoken in imagery before the multitude is now interpreted plainly to those closest to him. Jesus begins, "He who sows the good seed is the Son of Man." The sower is Christ himself. Throughout his earthly ministry, he was planting the message of the kingdom within Israel. The seed represents the sons of the kingdom, those who receive the message and belong to the reign of God that was breaking into history through the Messiah. He then identifies the field. The field is the world. The term used here refers not to the distant globe in a modern sense, but to the inhabited order into which the message of the kingdom was being proclaimed. The kingdom message was spreading throughout the land and among the people of that age. The good seed are the sons of the kingdom. These are those produced by the work of the Son of Man, those who belong to the covenant community being formed through him. In contrast, the tares are described as the sons of the wicked one. Just as wheat and weeds can grow together in the same field, so within Israel, there existed both those aligned with God's kingdom and those aligned with opposition to it. Jesus then explains the enemy. The enemy who sowed them is the devil. The adversary had been at work within the covenant world, producing opposition and corruption. Throughout Israel's history, false leaders, hypocrisy, and unbelief had grown alongside the true people of God. The Lord continues, "The harvest is the end of the age." The age in view is the age that was then present, the age of the old covenant order centered on the temple, the sacrificial system, and the national structure of Israel. That age was approaching its climactic conclusion. The imagery of harvest was commonly used by the prophets to describe the moment when God would bring covenant judgment and separation. The reapers, Jesus says, are the angels. These are the messengers of divine authority who carry out God's purposes in history. At the harvest, the field would be cleared. As the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of the age. This language echoes prophetic descriptions of judgment upon covenant unfaithfulness. The Son of Man would send forth his messengers, and they would gather out of his kingdom all things that cause stumbling and those who practice lawlessness. The imagery reflects the removal of those who rejected the kingdom and opposed the Messiah. Jesus describes them being cast into the furnace of fire, where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. This language was frequently used by Jesus to portray the anguish associated with the coming judgment upon Jerusalem and the collapse of the old covenant system that had rejected its king. But the removal of the tares is not the final word in the parable. Jesus concludes with the vindication of the righteous. Then the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. This imagery draws from the language of Daniel 12, where the faithful are said to shine like the brightness of the firmament. It speaks of the public manifestation and vindication of those who belong to God. When the old order passed away and the kingdom was fully revealed, the people of God would be seen in the glory of that completed kingdom. Thus, the parable describes a period in which wheat and tares existed together within the covenant world, followed by a decisive moment of separation when the old age reached its conclusion. The removal of opposition and the vindication of the righteous marked the transition into the fully revealed kingdom of the Father. Jesus closes with the familiar call, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear."